Hey Fearless Mods fans, what is up? It's Biff and we're back in the Fearless Mods garage working on our 2005 four-wheel drive Nissan Titan LE crew cab, and it is time for paint prep. We got her all torn down in the last episode, so now we're going to start removing some of this adhesive stuff from the letters and everything so we can start sanding and doing some body work and getting it ready. We're also going to go straight to getting the frame scuffed down and sprayed in a little bit with some rattle can black so that it kind of puts some of that rust at bay. But anyway, here we go. Next steps on painting the Titan coming at you now. Okay, so the first thing we're gonna do is use our 3M adhesive eraser. This thing is not cheap, quite expensive actually. But we're gonna throw this in a drill and start trying to take off some of this adhesive to get it ready. Then we'll go kind of clean up all the dirt that was underneath the trim that we took off. This is pretty interesting. So where the trim was down here at the bottom, I've actually peeled paint off right here. So I'm down to the primer underneath there. Even though, interestingly enough, the bottom adhesive on these things seems to have stayed, because you can see the grooves and then it's stuck in there. So that's gonna be fun to try to remove and replace. Well, actually maybe that'll just peel right off. That's pretty good. But you can see the paint is on there with it. So, but the top part, got all the rubber removed. The wheel works like a champ. I've already used that much of the corner of it. And so that means that I should have enough to be able to get the other side and the tailgate and be good to go with respect to all the adhesive being off here. There are a lot of dirty lines left behind, but a lot of that is from the residue of having been on here through 19 years of weather and gunk that just sits in there and becomes part of the paint pretty much. But when we sand it and get it ready, we'll take care of any of the discoloration as well as this area here where we're missing the primer. Make sure we get the edges feathered so we're not picking off more paint, and it'll be good to go. Okay, so we have got the eraser wheel done. Look at that thing. It is really angled down now. But hey, it did the trick for what we needed for, and that's good because now we are ready to go ahead and clean that stuff up. Okay, so it's time to get in here and start cleaning up some of this rusty framework here and see if we can get some black paint on here. For this, I'm going to be using these maroon scuff pads. They are essentially like a 400 grit. So I will go ahead and scuff stuff up and we'll get some paint on some of this and see how we can make this look. So I guess that's what we are going to call a scuff of this wheel well. It's not pretty, but what I'm going to do now is probably get in here, just blow it off, and then take some rust converter and spray all over everything and let that dry, and then we'll get in there with the Rust-Oleum black. All right, so we're going to use this Loctite Extend Rust Neutralizer to convert light rust to a paintable surface. Gonna shake it up, gonna spray it on there and let it dry and go to painting. Should turn it black if it's working right. And the key to this is you don't want the rust gone. You don't want to grind the rust down to metal or this won't do its job. And that's not a problem. We're supposed to wait for this to turn black and then put a second coat on. So I just misted the second coat on. Also did the front. But we're supposed to wait for 24 hours before we hit it with the paint, before you top coat it. So I am going to go ahead and continue around to the other side, sanding or scuffing the rust and putting this coating on it so that we'll be ready to come back in here tomorrow and throw some black paint on it. I'm getting about $8 to $12 of use out of a Loctite rust inhibitor can because they keep running out of pressure at about 1/2 to 2/3 used. Switched over to this Permatex and used that thing completely up. So good job, Permatex. Got the underside coated. I am going to go ahead and start getting some coats of black down here. I'm going to use this Rust-Oleum Lacquer Matte Black and we'll see how it looks. It does sound thick.
Let's take a walk around this building. So we've got a similar issue, but overall, it's fun.
We have completed painting the frame at least all the way back to the very aft part of the frame where the bed is sagging down over it. We'll get to that later, but for now, I do want to show you how good this turned out with a little bit of rust treatment and black satin paint on the frame. Check this out. It looks so nice underneath there. All the way underneath on both sides, across. Looks like a new frame underneath there. Up through the leaf springs and back across the back. With that taken care of, now let's get onto this body. We need to get this thing ready for some paint. We've got some nicks from rock chips here that have little specks of rust in them all over the body. We got minor dents and paint that has come off down here by the stripe and on the door, hood dings, all this kind of stuff. We need to get this thing sanded, all of these spots taken care of. Yeah, the majority of the dents that we can see we'll take care of and all those little rock chips, but we're not going for 100%, but it'll be pretty good when we're done. But the first thing I want to do is go ahead and get all this grime off here from where I had taken off the seals, and we'll remove the wrap on these two center door sections so that we can get ready to start wet sanding this baby and doing some chip repair. Gotta tell you, this is not fun. And thus far, I haven't been able to get a razor blade underneath it because it just gouges into the paint. So I'm trying to get this edge rolled around here so I can try to at least have something to peel from, but it's not coming off in a sheet. And if I heat it, at least if I heat it too much, which I apparently am, then the adhesive part stays on and the wrap part comes off, which means I then have to use my thumb to rub that off, and probably our adhesive removal wheel or some solvent, but this is not fun, and this is the first of 4. That is a process, and that is no fun. So probably an hour later, we've got one off. Only one good gouge in the paint. The rest of it did pretty well. We got it off from the edges where it was wrapped around. What ended up being the trick, because the heat wasn't doing it, heat is just causing the sticky layer to peel off and stay on here. So what I ended up doing was taking a little bit of engine degreaser just to kind of lubricate the scraper, otherwise known as a razor blade in a widget. And it allowed me to kind of like work down and do strips and work my way over. And then once I got to the side, I kind of came at it from the side so that I could try to peel it over the edge and then peel off that one back piece as much as I could in a single strip. When we're all done, I tried some wax and grease remover. It did not take off the huge sticky layer that was remaining behind. So I used a little bit of lacquer thinner to soften it up, and then just scraped it, as painful as that sounds, with the face of my razor blade to get all that goo down into a manageable pile of slop that I could then wipe with the lacquer thinner, and it's pretty good. 1 down, 3 to go. Wow, don't recommend this. Have you ever done one of these projects where you're just, you know, considering doing something and you're like, I could probably find a way to not have to go to this length, but no, I'll go ahead and do it. It'll be quick and easy and it'll make it better. I'm not kidding you. I don't know what time it is because I don't have my watch or phone near me. It is 3:30. That took me 3 hours. Now, they look pretty decent and they're clean and they're gonna be nice whenever we get them done, and they're painted black. I left a horrible mess here, as I showed you already. Half of this stuff is all stuck to my shoes, and so before I can even get going on the bodywork now, I need to kind of clean this up so that I can walk around and not end up with Gumby feet for the rest of this bodywork. Okay, so it turns out this stuff's working pretty good, taking off the grime that's underneath here and in the door handles. So I'm going to continue wiping it off and actually try it down here where the side molding was, but I just want to show you. All I'm using is bug and tar remover. Probably any brand will work. It starts to make you hot in the garage, all that elbow grease. But looking good. Wow, that actually did a great job. So last thing we'll want to do is kind of clean up these door jambs a little bit in here where we took the seal off of that. Then we'll move to the other side, and then we're ready to start wet sanding. We've got our bucket of soapy water, and we got some, starting off with some 400 grit. Starting off, we're probably just gonna do the whole thing 400. It really needs the clear coat, especially up on top, to get a good sanding. And so we're gonna go through it with this and our sanding block and start up on top and work our way down. Well, that was a pleasant surprise. So I had to run out here real quick to get back home because yesterday FedEx tried to deliver something to me and said, hey, it wasn't, you weren't available. And they rang the doorbell and we didn't hear it. It didn't go off. Thank you, Ring doorbells. But anyway, so I left that note on there today because I'm at the shop, not at the house. So as soon as my chime went off on my watch, I bolted and hauled booty down there to meet her at the door. And it happened to be a dudette. So I'm glad I included equal opportunity and multi-sexual messaging for the FedEx driver. But this is something you're gonna have to wait and see in another episode. I'm really excited about that. and honestly, that as well, that box back there. So, but those will come to you after this baby's in its nice new silver color. Want to show you what's going on up here on the top. This is really interesting because you can really tell where that clear coat was just spent, right? So that was like powder practically. So we're down to the primer under there, which is fine. That's what we want to do, get rid of all that bad clear coat. So the 400 grit is a good call. It is up there drying right now. We've got the whole center section of the top. There might have been one area back in the back that kind of did that same thing where we went through the clear coat, where it was kind of crystallizing. No wonder it was molding, because it's just very porous and holding on to all that moisture and bacteria, germs, whatever, makes mold, spora. Anyway, not sure if I'm gonna be able to be monetized if I say spora. But anyway, all I gotta do is the tracks and the sides, which I can get from the side here. I did pick me up some stands here so that I could do this a little more easily. I actually had them stacked too high so I could get up to the top. But now we're down here where I can use one and start working on this hood. So let's keep rolling with the wet sanding. Okay guys, well, that's gonna be a wrap for today. I know it looked like it went a lot faster in time lapse than it really did. It's probably about 8 hours yesterday and another couple today on the bed, but we've got the majority of the wet sanding done. So now we have just got to move on to finding any spots we missed, repairing the chips, doing any filler, and getting it ready for the final bit of prep before we're ready to put some paint down. But you're gonna have to stay tuned for the next episode if you wanna see that, because that's a wrap for this one. Hey guys, thanks for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe. Click the bell so you don't miss out on the next one that drops, and we'll catch you again real soon. Take care.